So you got this company called AEG, which couldn't give a fuck whether or not he lives or dies. And if I was going to investigate something, I would investigate them.
I called him and said, we need to add more shows or there are not going to be any tickets available for the public. And basically what he said is he allowed me to add 19 more shows, so we had 50 in total.
And I had to call him yesterday and say, Mike, we may have to add 20 more shows, and we're still not going to come close to fulfilling the demand. He said to me, he said, Randy, how many shows do I have to do in one city? I said, you know, 50 minimum. And he said, how long am I going to be there? I said, you know, basically we'll be able to apply for a British passport for you. But he said, that long? He said, oh my God. But he said, that long? He said, oh my God.
And he said to me, he said, Randy, if I have to stay in London, how long do I have to be there? And I said, Michael, you're going to be there long enough to qualify for a British passport. And he said, no, I can't stay there that long. And he said, no, I can't stay there that long.
And I had to call him yesterday.
We have a statement from AEG President
Do you
and
have
CEO
a contract?
Phillips
It's easy
on
to
the
prove.
number of concerts read. He says, our original agreement with Michael Jackson called for 31 shows. It was our option as the promoter to only announce the first 10 concerts, knowing that based on the response to the pre-sale, we could and would add the additional 21 shows. The pre-sale response was so overwhelming that we went back to Michael's representative at the time, Dr. Tohme, to inquire whether Michael would be willing to increase the number of shows. He reported that Michael was willing to increase the number of performances to 50. And I would expect that AEG is going to probably dispute these allegations tonight, but they're saying Michael agreed to it.
They're saying
they're lying.
Let me say this. Let me say this. They'll say anything. Okay, but what they should do is produce to you a contract showing where it was signed by Michael to do 50. Do you have that?
I don't have any contract.
No.
And I called a gentleman named Dr. Tohme, who was managing Michael at the time and was his representative, and I said, listen, we're going to blow through the 30 shows in the pre-sale. Okay, we're going to have nothing left for the general public. We're going to need to add more shows. Will you talk to Michael? So then he called Michael and then called me back and said, Michael will go to 50 shows.
When Michael talked to you about Tohme, what did he say?
June, I don't like him. I don't trust him. Michael was deathly afraid of him. That's an excellent word, deathly afraid.
What did Michael tell you that Tohme was doing?
He said he's trying to say who I can see and where I can see them, and he said, I don't like it.
Nothing's divided between me and my representatives. I don't talk to my lawyer, my accountant. I talk to him and he talks to them. That's not good. I know it's not good. I don't like it. And I want to get somebody in there with him that I know and trust. I don't know what's in my accounts. I don't know.
Oh, that's not good, Michael.
I know that's not good.
He had taken over Michael's complete life.
He had pretty much complete control.
In what way?
He had checking accounts. He was having money put into the accounts. He was signing checks.
He was signing checks for Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Because there is a report out that, by unnamed sources, that he didn't want to do 50 shows. You're saying point blank that is not true.
That is absolutely not true.
He had agreed to do 10 shows. He had agreed to do 10 shows, and he did not know the extra dates were added. They sold so rapidly that they didn't really get a chance to ask him, and the next thing you know, there were 50 shows.
I overheard Michael Jackson telling Leonard Rowe that he only committed to 10 shows. This is what he told me. He said, Rowe, I only agreed to do 10 shows for AEG. I never agreed to do 50.
Are you saying when they said 50, that was against Michael's wishes?
Totally. Michael wasn't capable.
They were selling tickets for 50.
I said that, but he didn't approve that, Larry.
He had brought us in to Center Staging Studios on May 29th and told us he was unhappy with the concerts, that he couldn't sleep, he couldn't eat, and that he had agreed to 10 shows and woke up the next day to 50, and that he was stressed and that he was only one person, and that even the scheduling of the shows were done wrong. And quoting him, he said, for an obvious reason. Whatever that means, I think it's quite clear. So we...
What's quite clear?
Obvious reasons, you know, put in as many shows as possible for more money.
And if he really wanted to, he could spend 2 years here and turn that arena into a club. That's how many shows he could do.
So you say definitely he did not want to do...
He did not want, out of his own mouth, I heard him say. So...
He did not want to do the 50 shows?
He did not want to do the... He had not agreed to 50 shows, only to 10.
Michael didn't sign up to do 50 concerts. He said that to me, that he only thought he was doing 10. He kept on saying that. He didn't, that's not what he thought he was doing. And it kind of angered him that he was, you know, in some ways forced to do 50 concerts.
Stories buried and untold. Someone is hiding the truth.
The comeback tour was a good idea, but the wrong idea about it, there was more tours added on to it. Michael only agreed that what he told me, Michael told me this himself, that he only agreed to 10 shows.
Comeback tour. Why would he want to back out of it?
He didn't want to actually back out of it. What he wanted to do, Allison, was get back to what he thought the agreement was. Michael had negotiated this personally back in November in Las Vegas, across the table from Phillips, who was running AEG, the big concert promoter, and his aide, Dr. Tohme, Michael Jackson's spokesman, was with him. And they negotiated and argued for over 5 hours about the number of appearances that Michael had made. And what Michael thought they agreed to was 10. And he was convinced that it was 10, so much so that in March, when he made the announcement, as you know, in London for this concert tour, he said,
"These will be my final show performances in London. This will be it. This is it. And when I say this is it, it really means this is it. And when I say this is it, it really means this is it."
He was then told after that conference that you have to do more, Michael. He refused to go to take the stand. He wouldn't take another press conference.
Can we do that times 10?
Let's roll the tape!
It was billed as the greatest comeback concert of all time, complete with fainting fans, dazzling dance moves, and the songs that were the soundtrack for a generation.
This is it. 10 shows, starts July 8th.
So 10 concerts beginning July 8th. The event of the summer, the concert of 2009 and of the decade. 10 shows. He said it today, his last shows, that's all he's doing. 10 shows. He said it today, his last shows, that's all he's doing.
Honestly, he was crying. I could hear it in his voice. He was choked up.
You say at the heart of it is money. Money is at the heart of this thing. Michael Jackson died because of people's greed. And let there be no mistake about it.
I'm not saying it's altruistic, okay, but it's business.